This story has shaken the internet, leaving people stunned at the sheer cruelty and greed that can exist within families. It's about betrayal, selfishness, and an act so shocking that it has sparked outrage across the globe. Today, we're diving deep into the unbelievable case of a woman who abandoned her 80-year-old mother-in-law in the middle of the road just to protect her inheritance. Yes, you heard that right. It's a tale of deceit, disregard for human life, and how far some people will go when money is at stake. Let's break this story down step by step and discuss what it means, not just for the family involved, but for all of us. This incident took place in a quiet suburban town, where the elderly woman had been living with her son and daughter-in-law after the passing of her husband. She had dedicated her life to supporting her family, working tirelessly alongside her late husband to ensure a stable future for their children. Her sacrifices were meant to provide security in her old age, but little did she know that the family she worked so hard for would one day turn on her. The mother-in-law, described by neighbors as a kind and loving woman, had recently been struggling with mobility issues due to her age. She relied on her family for care and support, a responsibility her son and daughter-in-law initially seemed willing to shoulder. However, behind closed doors, tensions were brewing. According to close acquaintances, the daughter-in-law often complained about the cost of caring for the elderly woman and expressed resentment over the burden it placed on their lives. Things took a dark turn when the family began discussing inheritance matters. The elderly woman owned a small but valuable property that had been in the family for generations. As the primary heir, the son stood to inherit it upon her passing. However, it became evident that the daughter-in-law had her eyes on the property and saw the elderly woman as an obstacle to their financial freedom. This fixation on inheritance marked the beginning of a chilling chain of events. On what seemed like an ordinary day, the daughter-in-law offered to take her mother-in-law to a routine doctor's appointment. They left the house together, but instead of heading to the clinic, the daughter-in-law drove to a desolate stretch of road on the outskirts of town. There, she did the unthinkable. Witnesses later reported seeing the elderly woman sitting on the side of the road, confused and frightened, with her belongings scattered around her. The daughter-in-law reportedly told her, "This is where you belong now," before driving away without a second glance. Thankfully, a passerby noticed the distressed woman and stopped to help. The Good Samaritan provided her with food, water, and a safe place to rest before calling local authorities. When the story came to light, it sent shockwaves through the community. The elderly woman, shaken but unharmed, recounted her ordeal to the police, revealing the extent of her daughter-in-law's betrayal. As investigations unfolded, even more disturbing details emerged. It was discovered that the daughter-in-law had been pressuring her husband to transfer ownership of the property entirely to her name. She had reportedly been scheming for months to find a way to rid herself of the burden of caring for the elderly woman while ensuring that her inheritance remained intact. Abandoning the mother-in-law was not a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was a premeditated act of cruelty designed to eliminate what she saw as an obstacle to her financial ambitions. The community was outraged. Social media platforms exploded with posts condemning the daughter-in-law's actions, with hashtags like Justice for Grandma and elder abuse trending across various platforms. People from all walks of life voiced their disgust, calling for strict legal action and urging society to do more to protect its most vulnerable members. Legal experts weighed in, explaining the charges the daughter-in-law could face, including elder abuse, neglect, and abandonment, all serious offenses with significant consequences. Elder rights advocates seized the moment to highlight the broader issue of elder abuse, which often goes unnoticed or unreported. They emphasized the need for stricter laws, better reporting mechanisms, and increased awareness to prevent such tragedies from happening in the future. As the legal proceedings began, the daughter-in-law showed little remorse, initially trying to justify her actions by claiming that the family couldn't afford to care for the elderly woman. However, further investigation revealed inconsistencies in her story. It became evident that this was not about financial hardship, but pure greed. Her husband, upon learning the full extent of her actions, was reportedly devastated. He issued a public apology to his mother and vowed to take full responsibility for her care moving forward. Rumors suggest that he is considering filing for divorce, unable to reconcile with his wife's inhumane behavior. Meanwhile, the elderly woman has become a symbol of resilience. Despite the trauma she endured, she has expressed gratitude for the kindness of strangers who helped her and the community support she has received since the incident. Advocacy groups have rallied around her, providing her with legal and emotional support, while also using her story to push for stronger protections for senior citizens. But this story is about more than just one family's tragedy. It's a stark reminder of the vulnerability of the elderly and the importance of family values. How did we reach a point where money outweighs basic humanity? What does this say about a society that allows such acts to happen? These are the questions many are asking in the wake of this shocking case. Experts point out that elder abuse is a growing problem, particularly as populations age. Many elderly individuals rely on family members for care, making them susceptible to neglect, manipulation, and financial exploitation. In this case, the abandonment was an extreme act, but it sheds light on the broader issue of how society often marginalizes its senior members. The story also raises profound questions about inheritance and the destructive power of greed. When wealth or material possessions become the primary motivator in family dynamics, it can lead to devastating consequences, eroding trust, fostering resentment, and ultimately tearing families apart. In this case, the pursuit of inheritance blinded the daughter-in-law to basic human decency, transforming what should have been a relationship rooted in care and respect into one dominated by selfishness and cruelty. Inheritance disputes are not uncommon, but they reveal deeper issues about values and priorities. At its core, the concept of inheritance is meant to provide security and continuity for loved ones, honoring the legacy of the person who worked hard to accumulate those resources. However, when greed takes over, this noble intention is corrupted. Instead of strengthening bonds, the focus on wealth can lead to manipulation, betrayal, and even outright harm, as we've seen in this tragic case. This story serves as a cautionary tale, urging all of us to reflect on what truly matters. Material possessions can be lost or replaced, but the damage caused by broken relationships and betrayal can last a lifetime. It's a powerful reminder that we must prioritize love, respect, and care over the fleeting allure of material gain. As we conclude this harrowing tale, it's important to remember that stories like these are not just isolated incidents, they are a call to action. We must advocate for stronger protections for the elderly, encourage open dialogue about family responsibilities, and, most importantly, foster a culture of compassion and respect for all generations. What are your thoughts on this shocking case? Do you think the daughter-in-law's punishment will be enough to deter others from committing similar acts? And how can we, as a society, do better to protect our elderly loved ones? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this story eye-opening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more updates on stories that matter. Let's continue to shed light on the issues that need our attention.